साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Scientific investigation is meaningful only when we take up the investigation from all standpoints, not only partial. That is what recently they started coining a term called as the holistic medicine. And this approach of holistic medicine is ancient in Ayurveda. The modern medicine talks of only diseases and the removal of diseases. But subsequently, after going through many experiments on the guinea pigs called as human beings, they have come to this conclusion that we cannot have only one-sided approach to the problem of health. Therefore, they have the holistic approach. And the same is true not only with the health, but also with the life. We cannot imagine to exist independent of the totality. And when we are a part of the totality, and if we separate ourselves from the totality, we become a garbage. Take an example to understand this point. Suppose there is a big machine, and one day, morning time, when they again start the machine, it doesn't start. So they are all worried what is to be done. So they call the experts from the other countries. So the expert from Germany comes. And who is the expert from Germany? An Indian. He comes. And he inspects that machine. And then he finds out there is one small little screw which is missing. And then he takes out the catalog, the number of the part. Immediately an email is sent, and by courier the thing comes and the screw is fitted and the machine starts. Bill $20,000. Now that small little screw which has fallen from the machine because of the vibrations or any reason, mainly vibrations, and in the morning when the janitor came to clean the whole place, he has swept away anything that was lying on the floor. Now the screw, small little screw, when it is associated with the machine, the value is $20,000. When it is separated from the machine, it is a garbage. If this example is clear, in the same manner, when we associate ourselves with the totality of creation, there is a meaning to our life. And when we separate ourselves from the totality, we become a garbage. See? What is the meaning of life? Normal question is asked. What is the purpose of life? So when we start searching for the purpose and meaning of life, in the future, we will end up in absolute impossible proposition. Because future never comes. What comes is only the present. So investigation about the future is going to lead us nowhere, and there cannot be any meaning discovered in our life if we are focusing attention only on the future. Second thing, if we keep on carrying the load of the past all the time, that also does not give any meaning to us. Because what is our past? A summation of all the tragedies for last 30, 40, 60 years. And that is not all. The past is far more than that. And therefore, when we look at the past, we don't discover any meaning to life. Because really what we have achieved. See, I was coming by car and listening to radio, and in that radio they were telling that the depression has become a common factor these days in our country. And this depression is now applicable to all age groups. Children are depressed. School-going children are depressed. 12th standard girl I saw in Guwahati, highly depressed. 12th standard, we did not know how to tie our pant. When you are going after in the 12th standard, mummy will say, pant ठीक से पहनो. Now here they are depressed. And that news was telling by 2020, there is going to be huge crop of depressed people. Now why depression comes? Depression is isolation from the totality is depression. If you merge with the totality, there cannot be depression. See? And for that, we must know what totality is. We must know our position in relation to the whole creation, the whole cosmos. And if we take out ourselves separated from the totality, maybe for a few years we will flutter. But afterwards, there will be no trace of ours. And the life does not have any meaning if we do not discover our correct understanding, correct identity, correct position in the scheme of total creation. And therefore, in the 7th chapter, while concluding the 7th chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has told Arjun, Jara marana mokshaya mamashritya yatantiye te brahma tad vidu krishnam adhyatmam karma chakilam sadhi bhutadi daivam mam sadhi yatyam chaye viduhu prayana kale picha mam te vidur yukta chetasaha. At the time of departure from this world and when we are old, these are the two things which are the most painful things in life. Old age and the death. According to Patanjali Yoga Darshan, the most miserable thing that we go through is the fear of death. And there Bhagavan Veda Vyasa's commentary on Yoga Darshan tells something very beautiful. There it is said, normally we can be afraid of something if we have experience. A small child who has never experienced what is a snake, he will go and straight away catch hold of. He is not afraid. But when he is grown up, he has seen, he has known, and then he will be afraid because the experience is gathered. None of us have the experience of our death. And yet why we are afraid of death? So there Bhagavan Veda Vyasa says, every jiva has the only latest memory from the last life is the memory of death and how torturous and painful was the experience. And because of that torturous, painful experience of the last death, a person is throughout life constantly persecuted by this fear of old age and death. So Bhagavan says, Jara marana mokshaya, those who want the freedom from the fear of old age and death, ye mam ashritya yatanti, those who take refuge in me and put forward proper efforts. And when they put forward proper efforts, what happens? Te viduhu, they come to know. What they come to know? 7 things. And the 7 things Bhagavan enumerates. And what are these 7 things? With this, the 8th chapter is inaugurated. So the Lord says, Te Brahma, Adhyatma, karma, adhibhuta, adhidaiva, adhiyajna, and prayana kale kimam ye vidur yukta chetasaha. So these 7 things are as told by the Lord, which includes the knowledge about the total creation. If this is known, there is nothing more is required to be known. But these are all technical terms. And when the technical terms are used, and if we do not know the technical terms, we will become frustrated. Why they call as the clicking mechanism as mouse? I think those people must be Ayyars. Ayyangars will say, let us not have the mouse. Let us have the Garuda. So click the Garuda and then the cursor will go to curse. Don't know why they called it the cursor. All funny words in this computer language. So, when these words are used, these are technical words. Mouse, cursor, delete, undo. The other day, my friend Anil was telling, he said, Swamiji, this computer has become so much. He was testing the eyes of a boy. So you were seeing the number. Is it okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? So after that he said, please undo. That is the revert back. So, when these technical terms are used and if we do not know, then the question comes that we are blank. And therefore, the 7 technical terms are inquired into by Arjun. Oh Lord, when you say, those people who are wanting freedom from the fear of old age and death, that freedom can be discovered only if you have complete knowledge of these 7 factors. See how technically sound. And is it not all the medical science and science is trying only for this? Freedom from the old age. Plastic surgery. So, from the face, it is all tight. 16 and below 600. Scientific art of getting freedom from old age. See, Jara Mokshaya, for attainment of freedom from the old age. And Marana Mokshaya. And what is the freedom from death? Make a man miserably alive and don't allow him to die. See? The other day I went to somebody's house, I don't remember, and somebody was in coma. So, after taking food and all that, Swamiji, please see, so and so is in coma. We are kept a nurse. She comes and does everything. Now it is almost a month or 2. And we don't know what to do. So you pray. Means what? I said, pray to the Lord or pray upon. I said, okay, whatever the Lord wants, that will happen. Why should I take the blame? Oh, Swamiji has come and he has blessed, you died. We are used by the public anyway, the way they want. Most used entity, Babajis, and wrongly used. 99% come to tell us and use us, not to inquire and discover the truth. So, when we want freedom from old age and death, there is only one way, and that is discover your correct identity. There is no other way. One example I'll give you. Suppose I am 75. And if I put on a dress which is brought just 1 day old, new dress. Yesterday only I bought this dress. Today I have put on. Because I have put on a 1 day old dress, do I become a baby? No. Second example. A small child has put on the old dress of his grandfather when he was a baby. So that old dress is about 200 years old. So when that small baby puts on that 200 years old dress, will we call that baby as 200-year-old baby? No. If this is clear, because the body is old, we call old. Because the body is young, we call young. And we claim ourselves to be wise. See? Jara marana mokshaya. If we really want freedom, that freedom can be gained only if we separate ourselves from the uniform, the dress that we are wearing, and focus attention on the one who is supporting the dress. See? It is not like a hanger hanging the coat. It is a human being putting on the coat. There is a lot of difference. And therefore, unless we discover our correct identity, any amount of effort to get freedom from old age and the death is a nonsense practice. It cannot happen. See how peculiar things are. Today I received one phone from Bangalore. Our Bhagwan Satya Sai Baba had some fall and some operation was done. His hip bones are replaced, this joint. Or something has happened. Now, when this has happened, one of the closest devotee who was staying with him for last so many years, she has this problem. Swamiji, when Bhagwan is there, how can he get these problems? I have started doubting him, his Bhagwanhood. This is how we understand the world from where we are. If I am caught up in the uniform, I will look at the world only looking at the clothes. Isn't it? A cobbler will never look at the face of a person. He is so full of humility. He only looks at your shoes. Polish nahi ho sakta. Gaya giraik. See, when we are identified with the body, even to the God we will look as a body. Think. And when I discover myself to be the pure self, then the whole world is nothing but the same reality. And this knowledge is uncompromisingly essential for getting freedom from old age and death. You may do anything in this world. Go to the developed countries or the overdeveloped countries. You know, the other day, one doctor I met, he operated one of my friend for his heart. And I went to see my friend, and when I was going on the steps, the doctor was coming. And I was introduced. Swamiji, he is the doctor who operated my friend's heart. So I said, Doctor, thank you very much. God bless you. Blessings are enough. Blessings don't mean anything. Money is required for doing something great. I said, okay. God bless you to get money. She got more angry. God, God, God. God bless, God bless. And then I said, look here. You are looking after the hearts of the people. Have you looked into your heart sometime? That was the last thing I spoke. And after that, within 2 months, when no time, just switch off. You can do nothing about it. Whatever educated wisdom we have, it cannot save us. The only way is discover your own self. And this is the way. Nanyat pantha vidyate janaya. And if we follow this path, then alone we are really scientific minded. Scientific minded person does not mean he is taking a test tube in the hand and producing a dolly. That is not a scientific minded person. The one who is able to discover his identity and attain total freedom from old age and death, he is really a genius. Therefore, the total knowledge is extremely essential. And for that, when these technical terms were used, Arjuna inquires and the 8th chapter is inaugurated. Athashtamodhyayaha Arjunovacha Kim tad brahma kimadhyatmam kim karma purushottama adhibhutam cha kim proktam adhidaivam kimuchyate adhiyajnaha katham kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katham jneyosi niyatatmavihi. There are 7 questions in these 2 verses. First question is, Kim tad Brahma? You mentioned that one has to know the Brahman. What is the meaning of this Brahman? Like, many people keep the name of their child something and they become the father of that. I remember one of my friends from Haryana. Haryana people are most witty. They have got tremendous sense of humor. So, we were going and our vehicle has to stop for some reason. And there was a farm. So, we went there and the water was being pumped. So, we went. I said, Mahatma ji, can we have a little rest here till our vehicle gets petrol and all that? He said, no, please come and sit down. And then he said, Doodh peda khaoge? In Haryana, they take peda and dip in the milk and like a biscuit they eat. And the peda is made only out of milk. So, he started calling his children. Arey governor, jara pani le aana. I was so shocked. And then governor came with a lota. And then I was just watching what is happening. Then he said, Commissioner, jara doodh ka bandobast karna. Governor ho gaya, commissioner ho gaya. What is this happening? And he understood. He said, Swamiji, don't worry. I am the father of the governor. I am the father of the commissioner because I named my children like that. Now, in this way, Kim Tat Brahma, what is that Brahman? Somebody names his own son as Brahma, like Brahmananda. So somebody named the child as Brahman. And what is Brahman? Brahman, मैं Brahma का बाप हूँ. Nothing will happen. So, Kim Tad Brahma, what is that Brahman? First question. Kim Adhyatmam? Adhyatma is a technical term. In English, we translate it wrongly as is spiritual. See, Adhyatma, Adhi means regarding. Atma means the self. So, what is the Adhyatma? Then third, Kim Karma. What is the meaning of karma, karma, karma? This word has become so popular in the total Western communities. One person came, I was in London, we are having our retreat. People from all over the UK came, about 50-60 of us. We used to have regular morning, evening classes, meditation. And daytime we used to go for long walks on the seashore, lot of fun. So one person asked me, Swamiji, will you please bless me with karma? I said, I know korma. Bengalis, when they say karma, it becomes korma. So that karma, what is that karma? Kim karma? And further, adhibhutam cha kim? What is the meaning of adhibhuta? Because by the word bhuta, we only remember the ghost. So what is the meaning of adhibhuta? And then adhidaivam kimuchyate. What is the sixth term, fifth term? What is the meaning of adhidaiva? And further, adhiyajnaha katham kotra dehesmin madhusudana. Hey Madhusudana asmin dehe, in this body, what is the adhiyajna for whom everything is done? Who is that? And last question, seventh question. Niyatatma vihi, those who are having absolute self-control over their mind, they, at the time of departure from the body, how do they remember you? Because the Lord said, those who remember me at the time of departure from the body, they come to me. So, these are the 7 questions. Now, these 7 questions are asked by addressing Bhagavan Sri Krishna by 2 vocative cases. One is, Hey Purushottama. Now, this is one requirement on the scientific art of living. It cannot be compromised. And what is that? It is, when we go to learn anything from anybody, the first requirement is, we must accept that person as an authority, and we must not doubt the ability of the teacher. See? This is what you must have seen your kids when they go in the school, small ones, and they learn small little things from their teacher. And for those small kids, the teacher is the Himalaya of wisdom. Nobody knows anything more than the teacher. And then the teacher tells the child, come on kids, today I am going to teach you about the human body. Now the children are inspired. Yes, today we are going to learn something. And then they are taught. And now the child goes home. First victim, mummy. Mummy, tell me, and who is the mummy? Mummy is a medical practitioner. Mummy, tell me, what is a human body? Because all the words learned new, so must practice on somebody. The human body. So, the mummy says, human body is human body. It has got so many systems, digestive, then excretory, and then the nervous system, skeletal system. What daddy says about you is right. You are dumb. Know nothing. Now that doctor, mother is surprised, then how come my son also says the same thing what my husband has said? How he could discover so early? Then she says, okay, tell me, what do you know now? Then the child starts telling. Body means what? It has got a head. It has got the hands. They are called as limbs. Understand? Limbs, not hands. And it has got a trunk and the lower limb. Did you tell me this? No, because you don't know anything. Now the child has got so much of faith and acceptance of the teacher in totality, that whatever the teacher tells is easily digested. This is what is indicated by the word Purushottama. When we go to the Mahatmas, there are different ways of asking questions, and there are different reasons for asking questions. One way or reason is time pass. When you see some Swami, how to pass time? So go and ask, Swami, do you know about meditation? Tell me something. And then something is to be told, anything you tell doesn't matter. That means you tell, do you think I am going to follow that? I am just passing time. One way of asking questions. Second way of asking question is doing an investigation. How much this fellow knows? Examination. The third way of asking a question is an objection. How come you are late today? That means it is an objection. You are not expected to be late. And the fourth is an inquiry. One really wants to know. And when we really want to know from anyone, we must have respect and reverence for the teacher, and we must not have any kind of doubt from whom we are inquiring. And this is necessary when we are walking on this path of the science of life. How important. These days, the students go for seeing the colleges before taking admission. I said, what is the meaning of seeing the college before taking admission? What do you do? He said, Swamiji, you will never understand. I said, yes, that's why I became Swami. You make me understand. He said, Swamiji, we go, we see the facilities, then we see the staff members list, what are their qualifications, and what is their experience. And when we come to know, most of the teachers are borrowed and smuggled away from the IITs, and they were associated with very brilliant institutions, and that is the staff or the faculty of this new college, then we take the admission. See? So when we want to know about the reality, and if we approach with a doubtful mind, we will never be benefited. Therefore, friends, please remember, when it comes to the material science, you don't have to practice what you know. But when it comes to the spiritual science, it has to be practiced, lived, demonstrated, and experienced by the teacher. And therefore, in our scripture, we call as Acharya or the teacher and not the preacher. Preachers are the one who preach. They need not practice. Nobody preaches music. Music teachers. No, music preachers. Because they have to know, then only they can teach. So all this load of meaning is contained in this word, Purushottama. So, hey Purushottama, kindly tell me what is that Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, Adhiyajna, and how a man of self-control is able to control himself fully to such an extent that at the time of departure from the body, he can remember you. Now, this is one very important thing to be known. See, as the time of departure from the body comes, that time our efforts become null and void. All efforts become meaningless. And that time if something can happen, is only that which we have practiced for the whole life. Suppose somebody has been all the time sitting in the shop and selling certain things, and at the time of death, Raju, Kaju, Sanju, Manju, all have come because the dad is dying. All have come here, yes. Then who is in the shop? His worry is who is in the shop, not Paramatma. Because there only the mind is all the time engaged. And therefore, it is necessary to know. Please don't be under the wrong impression. Ajamila took only once Narayana and he was relieved. So if I say only Narayana once, what will happen? Nothing will happen, because after saying Narayana, Ajamila left the body. We will wait. Narayana, are abhi hai? Oh, that means there is a postponement of death. And again you get lost in this world and immediately the death comes. Therefore, how it is possible in a case that when we leave the body, one can still remember you. So these 7 questions are answered by the Lord, and this is what is the remaining text of this 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now here, Bhagavan starts, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavodhyatma Uchate, Bhuta Bhavod Bhavakaraha Visargaha Karma Sanjitaha. In this verse, the teacher explains what is the Brahma and what is Adhyatma and what is Karma. So out of the 7 questions, 3 questions are replied in one verse. See how cryptic is the language. No, when one knows the subject very well, one doesn't have to use too much of gestures and too much of unproductive words. Actually, what I mean, see what happens, that means you don't know anything. Here the teacher is to the point, and in one sentence he has replied the question. The first is Aksharam Brahma Paramam. What is the Brahma? Brahma is Paramam Aksharam Brahma. Now let us try to understand each word. Brahma means that which is bigger than the biggest. Now, bigger than the biggest, how do we understand that? The problem is not about the scriptural statement. Problem is what we understand out of those statements. So, when it is said, Brahma means Bruhatvat Brahma, that which is bigger than the biggest. So, a person who is a petu, who is all the time thinking about eating, for him Brahma means what? He will compare. See, Gujarati Ladu is chota. And that Tirupati Ladu is big. That's how Brahma is big. See? Or then like the ping pong ball, table tennis ball is small, football is big. So we are getting caught up only in the forms. And then we try to understand Brahman means bigger than the biggest. And this is how many people have this funny kind of imagination. When they sit for meditation, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Swamiji, when I was doing this japa, Aham Brahmasmi, I felt I have grown disproportionately huge. And the whole world is contained in my stomach and I had a gas trouble. See? That is only because we are too much conditioned by the form. Therefore, Bruhatvat Brahma, bigger than the biggest means what? See, the waters are bigger than the earth. The fire is bigger than the water. The air is bigger than the fire. The space is bigger than the air. Meaning what? Without the space, air cannot have any place to live. Without the air, fire cannot burn. Without the fire, water cannot remain liquid. Without the water, there cannot be life on the earth. That means the earlier Pancha Mahabhuta is supporting the existence of the later. That is the meaning of bigger. Now we have come to the space. Therefore, in this gross world, space is the biggest. Now, next step. Where is this space? The space is in our mind. Therefore, when the mind is unfolded, then only north, east, west, south, isn't it? Many people are very concerned about sleeping. Which direction are their feet facing? You should not sleep by facing your feet to the south. Why? What will happen? You will die. No, I tried many times. I am not dying. This is the method of suicide. You will not die. Don't. All that north, east, west, south is meaningful only when the mind is unfolded. And when the mind is enfolded as in deep sleep, which space we are? Indian space or American space or the cyber space, or we are in the Mars or we are on the moon. None of these things have any meaning. So, the total gross space is supported by the mind. Therefore, mind is bigger than the space. Now see, now there is one proverb in Hindi. First time when I went to UP, I didn't know much of Hindi. There only I learned Hindi. So, when anything happens, when one gets very angry, they use this term. Duniya gayi bhaad mein. So I was all the time thinking, what is the meaning of bhaad? Because when the whole world can go into the bhaad, Bhat must be very big. And I became very serious about it. So one day, one nice educated person in Hindi literature, I asked him, I said, look here, I don't know Hindi, but I am learning, so please explain me, what is the meaning of bhat? He said, where from you got this word? I said, everybody says when they are angry, Duniya kya kahegi? Duniya kya kahegi? Duniya gayi bhat mein. Means what? So bhat must be very big, where the whole world can be accommodated. So this mind is accommodating the total space, and therefore mind is bigger than the space. And this mind is enlivened by the light of consciousness, and therefore consciousness is bigger than the mind. And further, consciousness is an expression of the reality. So the reality is far bigger than the consciousness also. That is called as Paramam Brahma. And Aksharam Paramam Brahma. Now see the Aksharam. Aksharam is what? Om Itteka Aksharam Brahma Vyaharan Ma Manusmaran. In this chapter only it will come. Akshara is Om. In every language, in every religion, this Om is there. Modifications are different. In our India itself, if you see, the different types of Oms which are written in different languages are different. Somewhere the Om has a topi. Somewhere the Om doesn't have a topi. Somewhere the Om is in a different shape. In Punjab, they write Ek Onkar. It is the same thing. Amen, Om. So everywhere it is the Om alone. And this is the word with which the whole world started its creation. Now this Om is the Aksharam Paramam Brahma. Now in this Om there are two aspects. One aspect is the thing, and second aspect is the name of the thing. For example, when we take this object in our hand, so this object is the thing. Now if I want this object, I have to tell, kindly go and get the battery cells. So battery cells is the name, and battery cells themselves are the object. The whole world has got these two aspects. The substance and the name of the substance. And both of them are indicated by this one word Om. Om Itteka Aksharam Brahma. So, what is the meaning of Om as a substance? And what is the meaning of Om as a name? Om as a substance is, this Om has got a very peculiar composition. Normally, there are consonants and vowels. The Vyanjana and the Swara. Vyanjanas are called as consonants, Swaras are called as vowels. And this Om has all the three. O and U, they are the vowels, and Ma is a consonant. So Om is both the vowel and the consonant, and yet beyond that. See? And therefore in this Om, the total world is included. That can be described through words. So all that which can be described through speech is Parabrahma. Now see the understanding. Anything that can be thought of, anything that can be spoken of is nothing but this Parabrahma, Paramatma, the Supreme Reality. Aksharam, Paramam Brahma. The second aspect is, now this A, U and Ma, they include the three areas of our experience. Akar is denoting the waking experience. Ukar is denoting the dream experience. and makar is denoting the deep sleep experience. So when we talk of this Om as our field of experience, we are talking about the reality. And when we are talking about the reality, the Om is nothing but the description of the reality in the most abbreviated formula. Like we have got the H2SO4. The H2SO4 is a formula. In the same manner, Om is a formula which includes the total world that can be described in words and the total world that is included to exist. In short, other than this Om, there is nothing in this world. And one more important thing, Aksharam means that which does not get destroyed. See how it is. You know, I used to always have very funny doubts in my mind as a child. When I used to type, the doubt is to come. You know, these people write Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. It comes from their hand, it is okay. So if I had to do the chanting for 13 crores time, so how much time it will take? So why not do one thing? When I become big, I will buy a big computer, big typewriter, and then put 6 or 10 copies with the carbon. And Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, ekdam 10 times. So fast I can do that. That time the doubt used to come that, you know, when you are typing S, so the Sri S has gone there, yet the S remains as it is. It has not gone anywhere. For example, when we say Rama and we erase that Rama from our slate, yet the letters R, A and Ma and A, they remain as it is. They cannot be destroyed. You can destroy the word formed out of R, A, Ma and A. But you cannot destroy the letters, they are eternal. That is the meaning, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. And therefore, the same letters go into the formation of Rama and Ravana. When you write Ravana, that Ra does not become impure. And when you write Rama, the Ra doesn't become pure. Because Aksharam Brahma Paramam. See? That is why this Parabrahma is that which can be experienced by us in the waking, dream, deep sleep, and which whatever can be spoken of, everything is that Parabrahma Paramatma, and it has never suffered any loss nor anything can be added to that. And therefore, Parabrahma, the absolute infinity. See? And when we come to the absolute infinity, all the rules and laws of mathematics fail. That is the Brahman. Now, the most important thing yet to come. What is that? If that Brahman remains other than I, the Brahman will be limited. The Brahman will be inert. That Brahman will not be my own self. Then there will be always struggle. I versus Brahman. This is what Ravana versus Rama. So as long as this Parabrahma Paramatma is recognized as one's own essential self, till then there cannot be freedom from the fear of old age and death. See? And the one who has discovered this, that I am that eternal, blissful, conscious existence, which is immutable by the influence of time, that is my real nature. Will that person ever have any fear about anything? And real life is an existence which is fearless. If we are carrying even a little load of fear in our heart, we cannot enjoy a moment. Take for example, this comes in the story of Janak Maharaj. He was a Videha Purush. So one Panditji came and asked him, you are a king and indulging in all the worldly matters. How can you be called as a Videha Purush, Jivan Mukta? How can you be called? He said, anyway, don't worry about the people. You are a Brahmana Mahatma. Come, I will receive you with respect. He was received with all the respect and asked to sit for food. And when he sat there for food, he was told, be careful before sitting, okay? Because there is a sword hanging on your head, tied by the hair of a horse tail. Be careful. Sit carefully. Now, when you know that the sword is on your head and most wonderful food was served and great Gujarati Agra, take some more, take some more, take some more. You know, the other day I went to somebody's house and then one Maharashtrian girl, she was serving and she was asking in Marathi, Azun devu ka? I said, you stop this stupid way of asking. You cannot ask like this. You still want? You never say, when suppose somebody has taken one chapati, you say, you still want chapati? Oh, take. So, that Brahmin was given a lot and lot of, food. Please take the sweets, please take srikhanda and all kinds of things. He said, enough, but he finished and got out. And after that was over, then the king asked, sir, how was the food? Which food? He said, why? I don't remember anything. Why you don't remember? Why I don't remember? That sword was on my head. I cannot enjoy anything. Then the king said, he who has known this, that the body is bound to be decayed and destroyed, such a person can never be entangled with attachment of enjoyment in this world. He alone has discovered real freedom from all the relative existence. Therefore, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. And when we recognize that is Parabrahma Paramatma, he is my essential nature, such a person alone has really understood the meaning of the scriptural statements. See, there are two statements. I don't know which floor in our Prem Puri, the 4 Mahavakyas were written in early 70s, 80s when I used to come here. Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvam is still there. It is still there. It is removed. No more Brahman. Hey, still there. The Brahman is not there now. Thank God. Freedom from Brahman. So, in that, when Tattvamasi Mahavakya Upadesh is made, that thou art that, and the teacher told the student, my dear student, Tattvamasi, thou art that. Understood? Yes. What you understood? Thou art that. Not me. I continue to be miserable. No. Tattvamasi Mahavakya Upadesha is understood as Aham Brahmasmi. In the same manner, when the meaning of every word is directed towards the self, then alone we have understood the meaning of Aksharam Brahma Paramam. There is no word which does not explain or indicate the reality. And therefore, in the 7th chapter we have seen, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has said, Pranavaha sarva vedeshu shabdakhe paurusham nrishu. Who am I? He says, Vedeshu aham pranavaha. Among the Vedas, I am the Om, Ek Onkar. And not only Om I am, but every word, every sound that is produced in this world, whether it is the braying of a donkey or the barking of a dog, or it is the singing of a great artist, or it is a lecture of a person, everywhere, every word is the expression of that divine reality. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Friends, when we tune our understanding to this, what happens? In Kenopanishad, the teacher has told us, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Every experience reveals the reality. Whether it is a good experience or a bad experience. If you want to have the experience right away, be very alert and attentive. Now, in your this alertness and attentiveness, what was? That was the reality. Oh, you are thinking Krishna will come with a basuri. See, when the thought formation is suspended and the experience of being is not described in that utter silence, which is not projected with any description through words. That is the reality. And in this state, there is no something as good, something as bad. This absolute being is covered by the scum of thoughts. The moment the scum is silenced, the truth is revealed. Therefore, one of the techniques of meditation is, wherever you are sitting, sit quiet. For example, keep a watch in front of you, a clock. And see how many seconds you do not bring a single thought. Start from 12. Tuck, 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 tuck. No more in between thought crossings. And the more we extend, this is called as technically as Madhya Vikas, expansion of the center. Because of this center alone, anything can exist. And when the center doesn't interact, when the center doesn't react, you are established in that center. And the longer this is practiced, the lesser is the turmoil of thoughts. And lesser the turmoil of thoughts, we are nearer to the reality. This is what the teacher says, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. And when again the flood of thoughts come, nothing happens to the reality, as if it is covered by the thoughts. And these thoughts also do not have their existence without this reality. But we get so much preoccupied with the thoughts that the support of reality is forgotten. Like when we go and see the rough sea, our attention is so much drawn, focused only on the waves, that the ocean is hidden behind the waves. In the same manner, the consciousness is hidden behind the thoughts. This undisturbed, conscious, blissful, independent, eternal existence is Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Like many thoughts may come and disappear, nothing happens to the ocean. Addition of waves does not make the ocean rich. And when the waves die away, when the tide is low, nothing is lost from the ocean. In the same manner, how many times the waves of the waking and the dream have come and gone? And how many times we lived without the waking and the dream experience in the deep sleep? And yet, never there was an experience of our own absence. This eternal presence is Aksharam Brahma Paramam. See, those students who are not accustomed to the silence, they get tired when they are exposed to this kind of thought process. It becomes a torture for them. But when it is tabla, peti, harmonium, dhum dhadaka, cymbals, and gana, bajana, sometimes Mirabai comes, you get bored of Mirabai, then Kabir, you get bored, then Jhalota and then dhum dhadaka. There we can continue for 2, 3, 4 hours. But as we start giving up all the alambanas, all the supports, slowly, all the supports, and come to discover that we are the support of all the sounds. That eternal silence, which is undisturbed by any sounds. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. That is the Brahma. So when Arjuna has asked this question, Sir, Kim Tad Brahma? What is that Brahman? So the teacher says, you are asking about yourself, you are that. Isn't it? One feels so disgusted. That is why wise people are never proud. Wise people are disgusted. Why? What a great fool I was. I was searching everywhere. जिसको ढूंढते थे गली गली वो घर के पिछवाड़े मिली. See? That peace that we were searching, struggling in this whole world, in time, in place, in actions, in efforts, is freely, effortlessly available within. That is why wise people can never have the arrogance of wisdom. Because what is wisdom? Discovery of the prior foolishness. When we are discovered that we were full of the highest order earlier, what is there to be proud of? On the contrary, we are ashamed. I really am so sorry why I was getting so disturbed over small issues. Today I received one letter, I don't know who wrote somewhere, handwritten letter, and in that person has written, from Goa I think. Swamiji, we have been struggling on a spiritual path and always we had that notion. Spirituality means what? Seriousness and all kinds of big books which we don't understand. And the Babajis come and they tell us all the impossible things. And those impossible things we can never do. And then we come to a conclusion, spirituality is for the abnormal people, not for us. See? That is not spiritual life. It is so simple. It is effortless. If you ask me, the definition of spiritual life is, it is not doing anything, but it is the undoing of all what we have done. It is not becoming anybody. It is unbecoming of what we have become till date. It is not achieving anything. It is losing everything. Tyage nahi ke amritattva manas. When we are ready for this bargain of total loss, then alone the truth is revealed. And therefore, friends, Aksharam Brahma Paramam, when we thus go on contemplating on What is the meaning of Atma, Paramatma, the reality, the consciousness? Slowly, slowly, you will get sucked into it. And the meditator disappears. Dhyatru dhyane parityajya dheyameva vashishyate. The meditator and the process of meditation disappears and only the theme alone remains. The journey ends. In this manner, Bhagavan has very beautifully brought out in this so small words what is the meaning of Brahma. So, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So, to conclude this theme, what we have learned so far, all that is spoken of, or heard, or seen, or smelled, or tasted, or touched is Paramatma. See, every word is a pointer to the reality. If suppose somebody comes from backside and gives you one, and you become so angry, and then look at him, and he is your langotiya. The moment you know that this blow has come from your own childhood friend, that blow will indicate an intention of hurt or an expression of love. In the same manner, when we are able to discover every word begins from the same reality, whether it is a donkey or it is a human being, whether it is a wise man or it is an idiot, no word can have beginning other than from this reality. When attention is on the sender's address, then there are no confusions, no problems. So, Aksharam Brahma Paramam, then Swabhavaha Adhyatma Uchyate. Now, what is the meaning of Adhyatma? First of all, we'll try to understand this word Adhyatma. See, Adhyatma Shastra, when we talk about, this is one of the biggest problems for most of the seekers. And that is, they are worried about the whole world. Then you become a social worker. Don't become an Adhyatmik. I went to Vrindavan for my Holi. It was a great fun. And there was one person, elderly man, and he was taking us different places. And he was non-stop telling about this, about that. People are like that, in the temple they do this thing, and then the government is doing like this thing, Ram Janmabhoomi and Krishna Janmabhoomi, and all the same nonsense talk, non-stop going on. Because he was elderly, so you have no choice but to practice silence. Remember one thing, whenever you are in difficulty, that is your examination. Don't react. And if you stop reacting in the difficulties, you are a spiritual seeker. Unless you have the opportunity, how will you try your spiritual sadhana? If AC, BC, DC, AC, UC, IC, and then you do the meditation, what is great in that? When from this side the wife is sarcastic, now these days, Vivekananda has come. And from the other side, the children say, now dad has gone mad. Don't know what to do with this thing. And in that, you have to practice meditation. Isn't it? So when we are thinking about spirituality, our attention should be only on the self. So when he was talking about so many things, then after some time he realized that he is only talking, I was not talking. He said, Swamiji, you are not telling me anything. I said, if you stop, then I can talk. He said, yes, you tell me. I always forget when I start talking. I said, this is not only your problem, everybody's problem. So, I asked him one simple question. Can you do anything about this? He said, no. I said, why do you waste your time in thinking? Can you change the government? No. Can you construct the Ram temple? No. You could not construct your own kutia, Ram temple. So why are you wasting your time in this uncalled for discussions? So Adhyatma, the first meaning of Adhyatma is concerning the self. Let us not get lost into this world. Now this is general. Now second thing. If you are a Dada and Dadi, Adhyatma means what? Pota and Poti. See? Many times I feel so peculiar about the Leela of the Lord. By looking at the small useless kids, we should remember Bhagwan Sri Krishna, isn't it? Gopala Krishna, Bala Krishna, isn't it? We all remember the childhood associated with Bhagwan Krishna. Do any one of us name our child as Bal Hanuman? No. Yeah, Bal Devi. No. Only Bala Krishna. So when we are seeing the children, if that is reminding us of Bhagwan, then we are spiritual seekers. But if you go to the temple of the Lord and there Laddu Gopal is sitting, and then you remember, I remember, Swamiji, I got exactly same type of photo of my grandson, and he looked so cute. Krishna deleted and that useless fellow installed. And then second understanding of spirituality. That is the NRI spirituality. I mean, my child, now he can chant Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. Spirituality, children are chanting Sanskrit verses, but we are gone cases. That is spirituality. See, I was in Cochin. There, they made a statement. All the children from the other country, they have presented very good program. So, Swamiji, do you agree? I said, I agree because I am amongst you. But the truth is, in India, spirituality is not taught as a classwork. Here, spirituality goes through osmosis. Every breath is carrying the message of spiritual life. So, Adhyatma, the different aspects we'll take later. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.